Yeah, hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Eric. I'm the program manager for the Navigation Special Diabetes Program. So I wanted to do a little something different, introduce myself. Coming from the administration office, a lot of you may not see many of us that are doing some work behind the scenes, but I just want to let you know that Navigation Special Diabetes Program, all the way from the bottom to the top, we do our best to promote living a healthy lifestyle. So in that regard, you'll probably be seeing more of me doing more of these videos, specifically videos about game meat. I myself am a hunter. I eat a lot of game meat, and I do my best to try to promote that on that end. So today what we're going to do is this quick demonstration video about pot roast, but not just beef, but venison pot roast. So if you come in over here, we kind of did some prep. So over here is the venison pot roast. So the venison itself was one that I harvested Arizona back in the beginning of October. Had a hunt out there south of Flagstaff, Unit 6A. So I filled my buck tag, and I got that processed cooking needle game processing out in Flagstaff. Prepared the meat for me. So I thawed that out, and what I did this morning was I prepared the rub. So the rub itself is 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon thyme, 1 teaspoon rosemary, half a teaspoon of chili powder, and half a teaspoon of pepper. So I did not put any salt in the rub. I try not to eat much salt, so salt is something you can add. You can flavor that on your own. So I rubbed it into the roast. If you come in closer over here, there's a little slit. So I put a slit inside the pot roast, but deep inside there is a clove of garlic, a whole clove of garlic. So there's 4 slits, there's 4 garlic cloves in there. So rubbed it down, put the garlic in. I put it in the refrigerator so all of the seasoning can penetrate into the meat. So now we're taking it out. What we're going to do is we're going to prepare a roast in right over here, pressure cooker. So I don't know if many of you have seen a roast done in a pressure cooker before. You've probably seen it done on the stove, probably seen it done on the slow top, or we do pressure cooker here. So one of the things that we're trying to do now with Special Diabetes Program, introduce new ways to cook, different techniques, hence the pressure cooker, hence game meat. So with that, as you can see over here, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's maybe 3 or 4 carrots that was cut up here. Instead of onions, what we're going to do is shallots. We're going to be using shallots. So this is a shallot here. Shallot comes from the onion family. This is a smaller variation of a yellow onion. It's a little bit more nutritious in the sense that the nutrients are a bit more condensed. So this actually has more antioxidants and more vitamin K than your standard onion. And of course, everyone knows carrots helps with your skin complexion. Particularly, it's high in vitamin A. So nonetheless, let's move right over here. What we will be using today is extra virgin olive oil. So extra virgin olive oil is good. It's derived from olives, hence olive oil. But when you compare it to like other stuff that you may see around the res, particularly vegetable oil, this offers different various health benefits. High in antioxidants, high in vitamin A. Whereas the vegetable oil, I don't know if you are aware, vegetable oil is just basically the leftovers from canola oil, sunflower oil, all these different oils put together. And that's how vegetable oil has come up. When you look at nutritional value, you really won't see any vitamins, you won't see any minerals in there. But if you look at olive oil, it's good. It's a natural source. And it has good types of fats that can help you do what you want to do. A little bit more. So venison itself, deer itself, is a really lean meat. So anytime you cook lean meats, you need to add a little bit more fat than usual. I know what you're thinking, fat is bad, but sometimes fat is good. And maybe we'll have some staff talk about the different types of fat. Monosaturated fat, saturated fat, unsaturated fat, and so forth. But fat is usually given a bad rap, but fat is good. Venison is deer meat. This is, I can tell you right now, this was harvested in the mountains south of Flagstaff. It is 100% natural. There's no hormones, there's no preservatives. It's legit, 100% natural venison. I can tell you exactly where I harvested it, and I can tell you exactly where the processor has been to, and so forth. I'll move this out the way. But venison has very little fat. When you look at some of the pictures from maybe the 1800s, 1700s Navajo Nation people, Navajo people in general, they were very slim. And when you look at their attire, they wore, different kinds of outfits. All of those came from deer, from beef. They used all the meat that they could from deer. They used the hide. They used the bones, make various tools, and so forth. But along the way, we were introduced to foods that were not natural to the Navajo Nation. Along the way came McDonald's, Burger King, and so forth. Things that I wouldn't say are very natural in a sense. So we kind of lost our way. And this is our attempt to kind of demonstrate, that eating game meat is good. I know some of you, even some people in my family, they kind of steer away from game meat, deer meat, because it's not something that they're used to seeing. But deer meat is good. Elk meat is good. Buffalo meat is good. These types of resources that were once abundant in Navajo Nation, now, we have foods that are processed, high processed food and whatnot. And that constitutes a lot of what our diet is. We're not getting too deep into that. I'll have, some of the staff and various field officers talk about, different approaches to different diets and different theories of eating plant-based, organic meats, vegetarian meats, and so forth. So we'll let them get into that, but me specifically, I'll be talking about game meat. So what I'm doing right now is I am sauteing the meat. We're trying to get this brown crust on the meat before we start cooking it. So by sauteing it before you put it into the pressure cooker, what you're doing is you're creating a caramelization on top of the meat. And what you're doing by doing that is you are essentially putting like a blanket on top of meat so the juices inside don't come out. So that's basically what you're doing by sauteing it. If you look at some of the videos that they show the Food Network and so forth, this is the technique that they use. This is something that I try to do. It's something we try to do in my house. It makes the meat more flavorful in a sense. So we'll be doing this, getting it brown on all sides. Once it reaches the level of charness that we like, and then we'll be throwing in these vegetables. You can use whatever vegetables that you want. I like shallots. Sometimes you need to add a little bit more olive oil to keep the meat going. But I like to use shallots. I like to use carrots. Try not to go too overboard on the veggies myself. Veggies are good. But the main star is the meat. So some of you, hunting season is going on. I myself, I got an archery deer back when fall came about, and now we got this one. This was a rifle, but coming down to the bottom of my stock in terms of deer. So I'll do my best to show what type of recipes I can use for deer. But I'm always looking for new ways to cook deer. So like us on Facebook. If you see this video, maybe perhaps you have some other alternative recipes about how you can cook deer meat. Let us know. If you have any ideas about what you want to see from Special Diabetes going forward, whether more focused on game meats, whether you want to focus on plant-based diets, whether you want us to do more of a fitness series, we're more than willing to adjust the way that we do business to accommodate, what the general public wants. So if you have some ideas of what you want to see, videos, demonstrations, let us know. But what I am going to do right now is take this out and put this on the side. You can see kind of the char that it's getting. So next, we're going to put in the carrots, and we'll put in the shallots. So I'm not cutting up the shallots any further than it is right now. So once you start actually pressure cooking the onions and so forth, or the shallots, those will break down into even smaller pieces than they are now. So going back to the idea of venison meats, so I encourage you all to kind of look up venison. If you look at the nutritional contents of venison and you think about some of the other meats that you're eating, the research will suggest that venison is it's a very lean meat. It's really low in fat. And, for some of you that have access to it, some of you that have the resources to do it, whether you have hunters in your family, I encourage you to get to experiment more with venison meat. It is really good. Like I said, it's all natural. Here in the house, I have myself that likes venison meat, and I have my dogs. I have 2 huskies. Maybe when they're around later on, we'll show them to you. And when the meal is done, we'll do a taste testing with them. They really enjoy not only venison, but they like elk and buffalo. So they're kind of my guinea pigs to see how things go in terms of trying out different recipes. I have one dog that's really picky in particular, and she will not eat very many things. The other day, one of our relatives stopped by and they had some chicken nuggets from McDonald's. So they gave one of the chicken nuggets to our dogs, and they didn't eat it. Now, of course, they put it in their mouth, but I think after a while they realized it wasn't very natural. So essentially they spit it out. So that's how picky my dogs are. We do our best to try to feed them and get the right nutrients to them. But yeah, so right now we got a little bit of tenderness on the vegetables, and what we're going to do is we're going to take them out. Put them on the same plate as the deer itself, and using the juices that were left over from the olive oil that have that good char in it, we are going to add some, my bad, 5-second rule. If it was just me, I would have said 5-second rule. I would have picked up that shallot and said it's still good to go, but that's just me. But being that this is a live recording, this is something that I wouldn't put in. Too bad, because it looks really good. So here it is. Put that off to the side. So now, if you come over here, let me get this. you can see there's some of those oils and some of those flavors left over, spices left over. So I have about close to a cup and a half of organic low sodium beef broth, and I'm going to add that in here. Try to loosen up some of those brown chars laying around. So if you come over here on the pressure cooker itself, I have it on saute. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this off, and I am going to switch it over to manual mode, and I'm going to adjust my time for an hour. The cool thing about pressure cookers is that you can cook things in here at a much faster and efficient rate than you would per se baking something. I'll get into that in a bit, but I have it set manual mode, pressure cook mode for 60 minutes. So what I am going to do now is add in my meats, my veggies, and then last but not least, just to give a little bit of flavor, I'm gonna add some pepper. So the way that the pressure cooker itself works, there we go. Kind of like those infomercial commercials, you know, set it and forget it. It's set that for an hour. We'll come back, we'll check it out in an hour. But if you come over here, we got this little Dutch oven going on. Something's boiling on the inside. You can see the steam coming out, right? So obviously there's some type of liquid, there's steam coming out. The pressure cooker is the same concept. However, the steam stays in there. So if you're like boiling water, water boils at a temperature of 212 degrees. Here inside the pressure cooker, water will boil, but the boiling rate raises. So there's a much higher temperature needed for something to boil inside the pressure cooker, and because nothing is escaping, all of the heat and the steam stay inside the pressure cooker, creating an environment inside where it's hotter. See, it's hotter inside, and thus it cooks faster. So that's the basic science behind the pressure cooker. So we got that set at an hour. Like I said, we'll come back and we'll open it up, we'll cut it up, and we'll do some taste testing. Thank you. So, hour later, pressure cooker did its thing. Opened up the vent, kind of let the steam out for about 5 minutes, and it's done. So come check it out. So this is how it looks. So typically, roaster size in the oven will take several hours. Slow cooker, you're looking at maybe all day. But in the pressure cooker, 1 hour. So here's the meat. And you can see it's still kind of hot, steaming up. So let's dig into it. And you can see how it is in the middle. Look at that. Perfect. So once again, here's a way that you can do venison meat. Loki, 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 sir, Loki. Here's my guinea pigs. Loki. How was it? Is it good? Loki approves. Taya. Taya. Come on. Get up. Taya. Zaya's the picky one, so if she eats it, you know it's legit. What do you think, Zaya? Some more? It's legit. So there you have it. Next time we'll do another recipe with probably some deer meat, and we'll do some elk liver on that. Thank you.